Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Helpless. We're going to do this a solo episode today. It's the one where Buffy turns 18 and has to endure the ceremony of chrysanthemum or some shit like that.
That's a good.
And basically just a watcher's trick that has to happen so that that she can show that beyond her powers, she has other abilities. But I've got more to say about that. Let me go ahead and bring everybody else up to speed. Mr. E, thank you for joining us this morning. How are you today, bud?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, sir?
Pretty good. You liking this early morning shenanigans here in the Midwest?
Oh shoot, I'm always up. I don't
Uh,
sleep. I just wait.
I just dream. I don't sleep. I just dream, as I like to tell people. Critter Kingsford, another Midwesterner American. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing fine. Doing fine.
All right. Northern English Bastard's the only one that's in the afternoon right now. Fucking lazy cow. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm fine. Bit of a fucking headache, but I think I can make it through the stream today.
All right. Well, fair enough. This is another one of those ones that because of this rewatch, I look at it a lot differently. I've said this in the green room and in our little private chat group that we have where we send each other nude selfies and things like that, and different kind of Buffy related trivia, as you do in a grown man's chat group that has to do with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't like this episode. It's very important to the lore, and it's certainly not a skippable episode by any stretch of the imagination. But I don't like it. It's angered me a lot more than I thought. Who do you think out of the four of us can give the best synopsis of this episode?
I will try. I will
Bring it
fail,
on.
but I will try.
Bring it on.
Wait. Did you actually watch it?
Yeah, I watched it, but I don't want to. I
No,
don't want to be the
no.
only person
I
running
meant
my
northern.
mouth.
I meant northern. Did you
Oh.
actually see this?
Oh, because
I have not seen this episode. I did not know it existed until this stream.
For those who don't know, don't know,
I'll just guess the synopsis then, and make it up as I go along and hope I get away with it.
Wikipedia.
For those who don't know, we did a best of 1985 stream the other day, and for reasons unknown, most of the movies we were reviewing, because we had most of the same panel here with a few other people, Northern English Bastard decided not to see any of those films. Hopefully he's seen this and can speak on it intelligently. So go ahead.
Okay, so from the appearance of this episode that I have not seen, Buffy has turned 18, but for some reason she's lost her strength, and she's wondering what's happened. It turns out Giles has been pretty much Bill Cosby in her to take away her strength, because it's all part of the ritual. A Slayer turns 18, she has to have her powers taken away to see if she can use more than just her strength and rely on her wits. And if she survives, then she's like Super Slayer to the council. Giles is very, very reluctant about it, but he still complies. But unfortunately, the vampire that's sent for her to take on to test her has gotten loose and has kidnapped her mum. And yeah, it's a pretty good fucking horror episode where Buffy is kind of helpless, as the title suggests. Will she make it out alive? Who knows? And in fact, she does. She does, because we still got another few fucking seasons to go. So, but yeah, that's my synopsis.
See how much better it works when you've actually watched the thing that we're going to be reviewing. Look how much better that works. Isn't that a lot of a better situation?
I was just guessing.
Oh, you just guessed. You just guessed that whole thing. Okay, fair enough. So okay, but yeah, like I said, this one pisses me off because a couple things here. In order for this to happen, there's something else that they put in here in order for this to happen. So one, Giles has to be complicit in doing this to her, and as somebody else pointed out in the chat, this could have worked just as simply if they had left Giles out of it and had somebody like mystically doing a spell on her or spiking her food or something like that. And then Giles was like cut out of the loop, because just like they feared, now whether or not it's because of the fact that they wanted to see if he would be complicit or not, I don't know. That's up for grabs. I guess you could definitely make an argument that that's what it is. But there's another reason that the only reason this episode works is for something else. But let's let's dive down the fact. What is you guys' thoughts on them just saying Faith went on a walkabout? What did I mean? To me, that just is like Faith's not around, because if Faith was around, none of this would occur. You know what I mean?
Bit convenient.
Honestly,
No,
I think it was just lazy writing.
That's just lazy.
Well, I also think maybe not lazy, but like having her. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let Deadpool say his thing.
Well, that's just lazy writing.
Yeah, yes, you could say that, but also I think by having her removed, it gets the fan base and the viewers like, wait, why? If she was here, yeah, she's not here. That helps this story proceed because she's not here.
Right. That's not my issue. My issue is, shouldn't they have come up with a better reason why?
Then how long? I mean, it's a throwaway line just to get her out of the way. I don't know how much more detail would have to be given, unless someone can think of another line of dialogue that would be better.
Honestly, I think it would have been better if they had her more dealing with the complicity of going along with it, or something to that effect. Because I mean, technically, Buffy is the Slayer, and she was only there by default. In a lot of ways, it made me think of like, because I was in college at the time, the date rape thing was going on. Kind of saw this as kind of a frat party kind of thing where somebody was roofied and penetrated, without her permission. And then you often have a lot of people who know it's happening, know it's wrong, but still go along with it due to peer pressure. And in a lot of ways with Giles, I felt it was like peer pressure to do something he didn't want to really do. So I think it would add more to the dynamic.
If
Maybe
Faith had been in on the betrayal,
either on the betrayal or knew about it, or there had to be some kind of dynamic to it. It would have put more depth to it. I think it would have filled just a little bit more. I mean, because
I think you end up with Buffy having not just the mistrust now of her teacher / semi-father figure, but then now you've added into the mix going forward the distrust of someone that would help get her back and have a fight. Like they kind of bonded, then they didn't. But I almost feel like that would add more insult to injury, and now you have another character that's not trustworthy, trusting the other character. Like the dynamic of for God's sakes, Oz and Willow and the other two. So you got these 4 characters that like are trying to rebuild their trust from everyone cheating on each other. And I think this is even a worse betrayal by having Faith know that she's being drugged and taking away her powers to see if she's still up for the challenge. And it's like that. No, I think there's just too many good friends suddenly becoming jackasses.
Okay. There's a pretty interesting fan theory that this ritual, the crucimanthemum, or whatever it's called, that's what happened to Faith. That Faith is actually, I mean, because people just assume Buffy's the older one, but that's not necessarily true. You don't have to be the same age or older just because you were one of the potentials slayers. So there's a pretty interesting fan theory that what happened to Faith with Kistos was her rite of passage. That maybe they took away her power, and that's how Kistos got the better of her and was able to kill her watcher. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah,
I was gonna say it seems pretty ridiculous to have that kind of a test when you're trying to train people, to defend against vampires and evils and demons. So hey, we got all these people across the world, or at least that we're aware of, these multiple slayers that can do this fighting. But let's take away their power and test them, and if they die, we'll just move on to the next. It just seems like a really weird set of protocols for this organization to do to their protectors. It just seems really weird.
Well, I'm glad you say it's weird, because there is actually a very specific reason for that. Can any of the class help them out with that? Why do you guys think they set up this test in such a way where it's almost unwinnable and she can get killed right around her 18th birthday, no less? Why do you guys think?
I think they do believe that this is they do believe this is the right thing to do, because if she can take on a vampire without the strength and find a way around it instead of just physical prowess, then she could have something special. She could be one of the ultimate, more advanced warriors, for lack of a better term. That's what they believe. I still think it's kind of messed up, though, because it shows just how kind of apathetic the council can be a little bit.
Yeah. Mr. E, what about you?
I've honestly never really put too too much thought into it. I always thought it was more of the council being stuck in ancient rituals, kind of a custom lock-in society. This is what we do just because we do it. We don't know why we do it.
Mm,
I thought that as well.
Now you put that in my head. Now I'm sitting here just thinking about it. So, of
okay. Well, good news. I do know the answer. You're all wrong.
course,
So
No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this time. No, not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. We made it up. We made this one up. It's a made-up tale.
But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and get into the episode a little bit, and then when we catch up with ourselves, I'll give you guys my theory, which, by the way, is the correct one of actually why they do what it is that they do. So we start off, and Bangel is back in full mode. So this is super dangerous. Like, they're just flirty, messing around. I mean, them and their stunt doubles, clearly, because there's one thing I've learned about making these slides. When you make stills of this, it's like you really see the stunt doubles when you have to close in on these things. The stunt doubles are very, very, you can see them very easily. So,
you kept the stunt doubles.
I was going to mention Spaceballs. Totally nails it.
yeah.
But this flirty, fighty thing, now that Angel's getting better, is it's interesting. Now, I mean, you could definitely headcanon a really good reason. They're two superpowered beings, so of course they would train to get better at what it is that they do. But at the same time, look at this. Like, she's just like, Buffy looks like she's about to be like, slip it in. Go ahead. It's okay. Just a tip. You won't lose your soul if it's just a tip.
I was going to say, if you have Sarah Michelle Gellar rolling around on top of you probably get better too.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Well,
and
I'm curious if Angel loses, is it just vaginal, or can
no,
they do butt stuff?
No, it's more. It's something we're gonna have to get into more and more as the show goes on. It's not sex. It's sex with Buffy, because he has sex with Darla, and he has sex with Ava, or whatever her name is, the werewolf, in season 5.
Season 5.
I mean, yeah, he has sex. So I mean, it's not that, it's the sex and the aftermath with, because he didn't like bust a load and then immediately turn into Angelus. It was a situation where it was the, I don't know, post-coital warmth or whatever that he felt with her. So but anyway, so we're off the next day, and Buffy's doing some training with Giles, and he's got crystals, and she's looking at the crystals, and they're really clever about this because they don't show anything. On the first round, they don't show anything. But she's, like, this is a lame thing to be. Even I was just like, what is she studying crystals for? What kind of new age thing? Actually, talk amongst yourself for a second, because there's a guest that needs to get in. He's locked out. All right, so discuss what we're seeing right here and what the foreshadowing is for 1 second. I got to leave you. Go ahead.
Any thoughts?
I think they're just basically setting up the plot here. They had introduced the crystals one way and what they're doing, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
so
clearly,
basically,
crystals, they're used in various spells and the healing, and all the hippy dippy folks that use them as well. I think it didn't matter what this was. It was just her board being trained to go forward. I don't know if the crystals really had anything to do with.
Yeah, it's more MacGuffin than anything.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, she's training. So instead of, hell, they could have been sparring, and he could have put a needle in her butt when she wasn't looking. Same kind of thing. So
and food.
Yeah, I kind of would have. I would have preferred it if Giles said no. Like he was standing up to the council, so they fired him and sent someone else to do it. Without them knowing.
That would have been
snuck into a room, and then
that would have been an awesome twist to it. I agree.
Yeah. But I will give credit to Giles. He is very conflicted about it, and he does tell the council he's not happy about it, and he does tell Buffy about it later, and you can tell he actually does feel some remorse. While the council are just like, well, you survived, that means you're awesome.
And business as usual.
Yeah.
You give Giles credit for this? Really?
I don't give him credit, but a little bit.
Here's where I come out. After 3 years, right, and their relationship that they have and everything they've gone through, Giles knows that this test is bullshit. He says as much many times, and he should have just been like, Buffy, you're fixing to turn 18. Here's the deal. Okay, I know you wouldn't talk like that, but I'm not going to do my cheesy British accent. I'm too tired. Buffy, they're going to want to do this test where I'm supposed to inject you with some shit that makes you weak. So let's just pretend that you are. I'll pretend to give you the injections so that they don't find out about it. Somebody shut your damn dog up. And I'll pretend that I'm being complicit, and you pretend that you're being drugged, and then you overcome the thing easy peasy. Because how the fuck would they know? How would they know the difference? There's no way they'd know if he had just crashed out and just told her the truth before.
Refresh my memory. Buffy isn't Giles's first Slayer, or is it?
Technically, no, because what they do is they pair up. What they do is, so now I'm glad you asked that question, because it brings up something very, very specific. And I'm going to throw this out here. I know I've been pushing this on both the show and on you guys, and I'm sorry about that. But so there's a book that came out in 2001. It's called Spike and Drew Pretty Maids All in a Row. And it mostly is about Spike and Drew. But because it's Drusilla's anniversary of being turned into a vampire, she wants something special. And so Spike decides he's going to go see a demon in order to get it for her. It's some magical necklace where she could see herself in a mirror. And being crazy Drew, that's what she wants. So in the demon, in return, what he wants is for them to go wipe out the Slayer potential line and then kill the active Slayer at that point. That's what he wants in return. And this is revisited upon in season 7, where the first tries to do the same thing. But they also get into a lot of interesting lore with the Watchers and how the Watchers do the business. So what they do is they have Watchers training potential Slayers so that they're ready to go. Buffy is one of those anomaly Slayers that slipped through the cracks and did not know that she was supposed to be a Slayer. So Giles was attached to someone else as a potential, and Merrick, the guy that trains her, same name as the guy from the movie, but instead he's fat with a mustache in the TV show, right, and in the comic version of it, which is really good, by the way. If you get the Buffy origin comic, it's really, really good. It's a graphic novel, and it basically reinvents the whole Buffy movie. So, but he gets killed trying to save her, and then so Giles has to step in and become her Watcher. So he gets reassigned from research and whoever he's like. So they train all of these girls that they think are in the potential line to get tapped with the Slayer energy, and obviously Buffy upends that in season 7, but we'll get there anyway. So after the stupid crystal training, Buffy goes out on patrol and she runs into a vampire and she's doing her thing. There's a long trope with Buffy in playgrounds, like toying with vampires. I didn't realize it until just now, where she's playing around with the vampires in a playground and something bad happens, or the demon. It's usually when she gets overconfident and then something happens. And they have a pretty cool scene where she kind of gets ill for a second, almost looking like she's had like a migraine or something's going on. Lightheaded. Yeah. She's not doing well. And of course, the vampire being the vampire takes advantage of it. And we get this really cool Saving Private Ryan scene where the stake is almost, and the director commentary of this episode, David Fury, said that was where they came up with the idea for the scene where she almost gets staked with her own stake and he's pushing it towards her heart. And it's like this real intimate moment, just like the really disturbing moment in Saving Private Ryan, where Mellish gets stabbed by the Hitler Youth knife. But Buffy manages to headbutt him. And then how she would have been able to do that is interesting to me, but whatever.
Without stabbing herself, yeah.
Yeah, so she does that and then dusts him. I managed to get I thought that was pretty good. That's a pretty good catch right there with the clip, because that was not easy to do, to get the dusting. I wonder if too much of that stuff gets in your mouth and makes you sick.
Yeah. I put it in my coffee.
Yeah, that's fair. So the next day, now at this point, we've not seen Giles do anything, right? And he comes in and just gives her a bunch of bullshit about maybe you're just not feeling well. And we've only seen Buffy sick one other time. So that doesn't really wash too much, but she's throwing knives. They're not landing. It's not going right. Something's clearly rotten in Denmark. And, right away you can kind of tell, especially in 2020 hindsight, that Giles is doing something, he should not have been doing. So
I like the fact that we eventually realized that Giles had been doing it all along. It happened more than once, even though we only see it one time. It kind of adds to the. You're like,
well,
oh,
they use the crystals not only as a MacGuffin to show why, like how he's able to get her under, so to speak, but they use it as a thing. Like when the crystals pop up, we know that that's what he's doing. Like once that's revealed, Buffy doesn't know, but we as the audience know. So Buffy's hanging with the modified Scooby Gang, sans Cordelia, and look at fucking Xander's just like all up in Buffy's shit. Now that Cordelia's not around or whatever. And it's kind of creepy, Xander. I'm a big Xander defender, but I mean, I don't know, this whole episode where he's just like trying really too hard. I don't know. Oz gets a couple cool lines. Ice, it's like water, but not.
right.
And
he can say something so bloody ridiculous and somehow it's still being endearing.
Yeah, it's his delivery. It's his delivery.
Yeah.
The funny part is that I hate how people hate on Xander for that fact. He is a kid.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
And I just, people like try and enforce, this kind of adult, reasoning upon a child. I mean, I'm like you. I'm a Xander defender, even though he's not my favorite character.
I agree, but usually when I mock him or slam him, it's because it's a high school guy doing stupid high school crap. That's why I beat up on him. But no, like you, it's a good point when you're in an adult mindset. You want to raise these teenagers characters up to a different level, like hormones and youth and uncertainty and emotion. So
Jesus, no, I haven't made all the best decisions. I'm still waiting for that to know better kick in.
Yeah, and same. So Buffy explains that she has this thing that she does with Dad, Hank Summers. Hank Summers, no one can ever make me forgive you for the things that you have done to this young lady. No one. And that they go to the ice capades. And if you remember from season 2, Buffy toyed with the idea of actually being a figure skater at one point when she thought she was going to have a normal life. So this is like a big thing for her on her birthday. And that's, kind of what she wanted to do. And it also acknowledges the fact that her last couple birthdays were not good. This is a running trope on Buffy, is that her birthdays tend to be like really disastrous. And Spike even makes a joke later on down, I think in season 6 or 7, I don't remember which one, where he was just like, have you thought about not celebrating your birthday? So she's in a good mood. Her friends made her feel a little bit better about, the snafu the night before, which in her mind at this point, maybe it is just a snafu. And she's looking forward to the day and comes home and finds the card from fucking Hank Summers selling at her for quarterly reports. Oh, Hank Summers. Oh, boy.
Did they ever give a reason why they never brought Hank in?
I mean, I guess the story doesn't really work right if he's too involved, I guess.
Oh, yeah, he's got to stay ghosting her the whole series.
Also, I mean, there's pretty clear delineation between Buffy's issues with bad men and the absentee father.
Daddy, when are we filming, Daddy? Come on, Daddy. Come on, Mama. Let's do it, Daddy. Let's do it. Let's film, Daddy.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So, obviously, she has daddy issues, but Joyce is perturbed, is willing to take off work to take her to the ice capades, but it's not the same if you take me, Joyce, because, daddy. We go over to this bed and breakfast, and pretty creepy, and see that a couple of British guys are working on something. And what is it that they're working on? And their main guy, who we're going to find out later, is Quentin Travers. He actually, talks about the Slayer, identifies we have to make this ready for the Slayer. Now, they're clearly British, so something's going on with this, but we don't quite know what it is. But whatever it is going to happen soon, quite possibly on Buffy's birthday. See what I did there? Where she might be helpless. See what I did there? And, it's going to be a problem for whatever it is. So the next night, they're doing the grounding crystal bullshit again. And Buffy is trying so hard to get Giles to comply with maybe taking her to the ice capades. And Giles, so busy doing his Bill Cosby roofie routine, is just completely ignoring it. Now, I get it. He's probably psyching himself up to do this thing that he doesn't want to do, betrayal of his slayer, of his, but again, think of the fucking long-term. Let's assume everything had gone to plan. Think of the long-term damage you have done to this girl, Giles. Like, had he not sat and considered that like she was going to be like, so she tells you her real father figure. This is definitely the point where Giles should have been like, all right, listen, I'm not going to do this anymore. Here's the deal, and just, put it all out on the table and let Buffy decide how they want to move forward with this. That's what he fucking should have done. And absent of that, if that wasn't an option, they would have to have a damn good, compelling reason why it wasn't. I'm really not forgiving of Giles with this. I mean, I'm just, am I making too much of this? Or you guys look at Buffy's face? Look at this slide with Buffy's face. Look at her looking up at him with just like complete and utter fucking trust.
On rewatch, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, on rewatch, I think what really hit me was the fact is that she was sitting there going and trying to hint, can you take me? Can you be my dad? Can you take me to the escapades? Am I the one that saw that?
Daddy, when are we filming, Daddy?
Yeah.
Come on, Daddy. Come on, Mama. Let's do it, Daddy. Let's do it. Let's film, Daddy.
Yes, Khaleesi.
Yeah, I mean, I caught that. So clearly, again, it goes back to her wanting to have a father figure, and that's why. I would say I have an issue. This was pretty horrifying that your mentor, teacher, father figure is going to do this crap, and at no point did he think I shouldn't do this. I should, Granted, you wouldn't have this episode if the two of them were in cahoots, like, yeah, let's just turn the tables on them, and I'll say I did it, and you pretend to be weak. But I mean, I like this episode a lot. It's just it creates this dynamic. Like, holy crap, the breaking of the trust, especially a guy that she's looking to as her father figure,
and she's vulnerable at the moment. Actually, I mean, I think that's what got me the most is the fact that she's actually hurting, and he's carrying on business as usual.
We haven't heard much from you, Luke. What's going on? Did you have to
go
strangle the dog?
When you think about it, she's having this tough time and he's making it worse. So, Giles is fucked up pretty much. I will say this, though. I pretty much might have overlooked every time he's mentioned it throughout the other series that you said earlier. So, and that's why I was a little bit forgiving of Giles. But since you pointed that out, the writers really should have thought this, really kind of mulled this over a little bit more.
I mean, I saw a lot of this the first go around, so to speak, because I mean, I used to watch every Tuesday in the commons area in the dorm, and 90% of the audience there were women. So at this point, usually this episode in particular, I was sort of moved towards the back and kind of, made a low profile because you kind of feel like you're embarrassed for being the guy, so to speak.
Yeah, when stuff like this comes up, you need to just like hang your head and be like, I'm sorry I have a penis. I won't rape you. I'm sorry.
And the worst part about it is I hooked up with a couple of girls in that group prior to all this. And after this, I'm like, well, low profile.
Yeah, it's like when we reviewed True Romance. And, I said, I watched that movie with this chick, and she just like started bawling into tears. And that when Tony Soprano's beating the shit out of Patricia Arquette, and like I knew right then and there she had bad trauma and would do butt stuff. So
fucking best out laughing. I did rewatch it, and then I felt a little bit bad laughing when you mentioned she got essay. So I was like, okay.
Wait until you're in a full movie theater and you laugh at that scene.
Right.
The horrified looks that people get you. It's even worse when they look over and they see that you're masturbating.
Memories. I didn't say that out loud, did I?
I will say this, that on the episode where Angel turns into Angelus, where him and Buffy hook up, I actually went back to the room with this one chick, and right before we're about to get busy, she looks me dead in the eyes, puts her hand in face. You're not going to turn into an evil vampire, are you? And I'm thinking, no, but I might turn into a ghost.
I'd have been like, listen, why don't you just take your chances? And then when I finished, I'd be like, well, good news, I didn't turn into a vampire. Bad news, you have chlamydia now.
Right.
So
you might want to get that itch checked out.
Get that looked at.
Surprise.
Surprise. So Buffy dealing with the fact that, like clearly something's wrong. Maybe she's just lost her powers, and Giles letting her believe that too, motherfucker. And but she's still so used to being like the class defender when this like 40-year-old man is accosting Cordelia. Like they finally found someone. I guess they put him in there because Cordelia looks so old that they were just like, listen, we got to make somebody that looks even older than you. Right. So he like, pulls a Johnny from Rape Tech on her, and Buffy goes to intervene, and he knocks Buffy on her ass, which of course Cordelia doesn't like, and then she starts hitting him, and this is the realization. Buffy's like, okay, something's fucking clearly wrong here. Like, this is not good. And she goes to plead for Giles again and again. Giles is just like, no, everything's all right. It's no problem. All right, he doesn't talk like that, but still, I mean,
but I do like the fact that she sold it in that the two scenes before that you were showing, that part where she's grabs his arm, she can't move him, he just tosses her aside, and then she's like looking like, what the hell just happened?
As you would do if the little 90-pound chick didn't have supernatural strength and abilities. So pay attention, ladies. That's exactly what would happen to you.
And that makes a good what do you call it, strong female character right there. A tree.
Exactly. So we find out for sure now that Giles is complicit in this, and he does make an argument for her. And then Quentin Travers making his argument of why they're doing it. It's been done this way for a dozen centuries. So this is another thing that just threw me into a blind rage. In the Army, we would have these traditions, some of them good, a lot of them not so good. And, we've always done it this way is just the dumbest fucking rationalization. It's like Ian from The Passion of the Nerd says in his review of this episode, when he says, and he says it so well too, which is, the amount of time something has been done incorrectly is not a good reason to keep doing it. It's just like, but people get stuck in that. But I don't agree with that. I don't think that's true. I don't think that that's why they do it, just because of like Mr. E kind of co-signed on that. Like, they've been doing it wrong for so long, they're kind of stuck in their ways. That might be true for some of the people, but I believe at the tippy top of, and especially after reading Spike and Drew Pretty Maids in a Row and learning a little bit more about why they do this. This is what I think. I think they know that a new Slayer is going to get called. And I think when a Slayer gets to a certain age and a certain ability level, they want to knock her down a peg. And they want to remind her that, hey, we're in charge. You're not in charge. We can take your power away any fucking time we want to. And we can do this horrible shit to you. So toe the line and be a good soldier. Because I could definitely see this. So that theory that the Kakistos thing that led Faith to come jump ship and go to the Hellmouth. I believe that they probably were using Faith as a and now this is just my writer brain, but I bet they knew that they had two Slayers, and they were, well, of course they knew, and they were using Faith as like a pitch hitter, like a traveling warrior to go to like different Hellmouths and different like places of issues, and get her to take care of those issues in these other places that wasn't the main Hellmouth in Sunnydale. I'd be willing to bet you, and that they were happy to keep her in that spot, in that job. And I really believe that that's what happened there. And I believe that she got to the age 18, because there's nothing saying that Buffy has to be older than Faith, and quite the contrary, in fact. So especially with as much life as Faith has lived, she just got activated later. That happens. It's not that, especially when you have a weird thing like Kendra getting killed after Buffy just dies for a minute, and then Kendra getting killed, and then so the next in line, that could very well have been an older chick. So that being said, I could see a very like inexperienced Faith. And then we see what happens with these rituals is that there's collateral damage. They think they're in a controlled environment because they're stuffy Brits, but in fact, there is no such thing as a controlled environment.
Right.
So what are you guys' thoughts on my theory starting with mystery? Do you think
honestly, I love it. I like the idea of the designated hitter. I do like the idea of ritual. I mean, in boot camp. Remember in the Marine Corps, no matter what you did, you were always wrong, and that was designed to break down your character to make you more uniformed.
Right.
So I kind of get that, and I do see the fact that, and here's something I might want to add. It just came to light when you were talking: is what if the council's dead set on this because they feel in a lot of ways, the Slayer tradition is one dies, one, another is made. But what if they feel like they're losing control at this point, and
No,
why they're so
that's
insistent?
exactly what I think. I
Oh,
think
excellent. Yes.
I think that exactly. I think they would look at somebody like, it's like, so when you brought up boot camp, so you go to boot camp, who do they usually recruit to go to boot camp? 17, 18-year-old kids,
Yep. I
just
was
old enough to
17.
vote. But yeah,
Yep.
if they could get 12-year-olds in there, they fucking would. That,
Yep.
that's why in other countries they have child soldiers that are like,
Yep.
they're, as long as they can hold a rifle, boom, you're good to go. So like me, I joined at 24. And although, I was in the military for 15 years, it was very hard to adapt me and keep me under control.
Yeah. I
So,
was,
and yeah,
and I did the opposite of that. I was 17 years old. I
yeah,
literally went in between my uh, junior and senior year. I went to boot camp, had my senior year, and then I was on active duty.
yeah.
So
So,
yeah,
yeah,
I was Marine my whole senior year. That brain, like you said, it's hard to break that dynamic as well, and that's why.
right. They don't want you forming your own thoughts and having your own personality. I mean, look at Faith. She's an unorthodox Slayer. Definitely want to put her in check. And then look at Buffy. She's in a different way, but still the same thing. She's an unorthodox Slayer. She's she uses her friends and uses her Watcher in order to kind of have this team of superheroes to fight with that makes her a better fighter. Look how long she's lasted. They're really only supposed to last like about a year. That's, I mean, clearly, most of them. If you read some of the novelizations and the side stuff, most of the Slayers only last about a year. So Buffy having lasted this long, especially one that was called an untrained Slayer, so to speak. She got activated, and there's a reason why. But we'll get into that in another episode. But that, Buffy gets called and they weren't prepared for it. She was one of those ones that kind of slipped through the cracks, so to speak. Her midichlorian count wasn't quite, up to snuff. See, look, I can make side sci-fi references that have nothing to do with the material, huh, Critter? I can do the same thing.
Nerd.
Anyway, Northern, what's your theory on my theory? What's your opinion on my theory, rather?
I really don't have any thoughts on that, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds like a good theory. If I delve a bit more into the council and how they work, I probably will come up with some theories, and maybe at the moment I got nothing.
I got a question.
Yeah,
real quick.
go
Do
ahead.
you have a copy of that?
I do. Yeah, I have a copy of it.
Is there a way to get it PDF or? I need to read it. I haven't been able to find it since you brought it up.
Did you go to the library?
Yep, the first place I went to.
Interesting. Well, maybe we can work out a deal and I'll send you a copy. Critter, what's your thoughts on my theory?
Well, I was going to say, not to over armchair quarterback and rewrite, but a grammar school, all the Catholic schools, all the kids wearing the same uniform. It's similar to what we talk about boot camp, breaking everyone down. Everyone's similar. Everyone's wearing the same thing. Don't question authority. But I do feel, and again, it's just like it doesn't help to the lore or the world building. But in my mind, if these hell mouths are opening up and vampires and monsters, I would want a whole army of backup and extra Slayers. But now you're looking at these the council sticking to their old ways, like it's always been done this way. The prophecy, there's always two, a master and an apprentice. Star Wars stuff. But you would then undo this universe, this world building that's already been created. That's just how they're doing it. And of course, when you take a step back, for me personally, like no, I would want an army of trained Slayers to go into Sunnydale and wipe it all out and close down. But I guess that's not how it works in terms of the.
Well, when somebody has power, that they're not really interested in letting it go. So, I mean,
yeah. But I mean, I think the council's wrong. But I also like they're set in their ways, and that's how we've always done it. But like, no. You want to defeat evil, get a bunch of good people who are trained to stop the evil. But that's not how we do things. Like, all right, there you have it.
Yeah. It also mirrored in the fact that they don't help Buffy or Faith out when they're in financial, Buffy in season 6, when she comes back, And then Faith from the get-go, they don't help them out with financial resources. When it's like it's like brought up in Angel season 1 that they have like guys that can turn stuff into gold. They have like wizards that can turn shit into gold. But they make their assassin team fly coach. So, shit like that. But anyway, I do like the thing in the library where Oz and fucking Xander are having their little argument over red kryptonite, green kryptonite, and like what it does, and that kind of stuff. And then we get that they finally reveal Kralik, and he's I mean, I would like to have more of this guy. I mean, he's really terrifying. And then of course, I think they stole this idea from the comic book with Bullseye, is that he gets some sort of tremor in his brain and he needs pills. I don't see how pills would work on a vampire.
Right, especially they can't breathe.
Yeah, because they're like a supernatural thing, aren't they? I mean, and this is kind of man-made. It's kind of like when Angel takes a happy pill and he becomes Angelus again temporarily. I thought that was a little bit
and again, they also use like the trank darts on certain vampires. They've done that, and that works for some reason. So I don't know. I mean, it's very inconsistent, the lore. But
I mean, the last time that.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I'm just going to mention the trank darts on. Yeah, Jesus, go. I'm out of the way.
Good. Shut up. So he manages to overcome the guards, pulling a little Hannibal Lecter stuff, and a really terrifying scene. And then turns one, and then the other one feeds on the other one like that. And so he gets out and runs into Buffy. Again, Buffy, Giles knows he's doing this and never thinks, okay, until the test, maybe I should be driving her home. So lets her go out in a little red coat, little Red Riding Hood. See what I did there? And she runs into him for the first time. And of course, he wants to just play around with him. And she runs back to Giles, and he gives her the whole fucking spiel of on the Slayer's birthday, if she lives to her birthday, fucked up thing to say, Giles. We do this thing where we test this and do this and blah 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 blah, and it's just it's fucked up. It's go ahead.
I wanted to nitpick just before we go too far in the episode. Those two douche nozzles that she runs into. Hey, baby. She runs a half block or a block, runs into the vampire and starts screaming, help me. And these two guys, I mean, granted, it would extend the episode. They would be probably slaughtered, but it's like, and maybe deservedly so. But I found it really odd that she's screaming for help. And these two guys are like a block away around the corner and they don't hear it.
I think they did hear it. I think it's Sunnydale, and they know better. They're like, "Hey, if you hear a teen, I think that's how people survive in Sunnydale. If you hear a teenage girl screaming that just walked away in the corner,
let's get out of here.
Problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your fault for walking into an alleyway with a vampire. Okay, you get what you deserve, bitch.
Well, don't they eventually allude to that everybody's kind of all along known that there's something
I think they already had. Yeah, I think it's been pretty well established. So I'm a little bit more forgiving on that. So Giles reveals what's actually been going on with her, and Buffy reacts exactly how you would expect her to react.
Liar!
Just like that. And then I love that Cordelia comes in, and I love this is that thing that people talk about, the Joss Whedon timing, where you bring in comedy and they don't like it the way it's been done and overused in the MCU. I would say that it's like this really double-sided blade weapon. Like it can be good if it's done correctly. It can be horrible if it's overused and done, and it can turn into a hacking meat cleaver. So in this instance, right at the point where we're at crucial mass, Cordelia pops in to ask for a book for some assignment, whatever, and she's like, "Oh my God, is the world ending again? I'm not going to do the assignment if the world's ending." But then turns on a dime and just when Buffy's like, "Cordelia, can you take me home?" And she's like, "Of course," because she's her friend at the end of the day, and that's more Cordy stuff that I like. And then she goes home to find out that Joyce has in fact been fucking kidnapped by this dude, because now the test is completely turned on its head, and Buffy has to pack up a bunch of weapons and go to the place and go save mom sans any powers. She does win the day through a combination of mostly intelligence. She tricks him. Although if he hadn't had one of his brain tremors right at that, and did she know that he had it that bad where he would need the glass? I mean, who knows? I don't know, but either way,
yeah, I don't think she did as well. It's never established that she ever comes into knowledge about his brain tremors.
Maybe Giles said a throwaway line. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it yet again and find out, but I don't know. Anywho, go ahead.
Weren't they before she went down the chute? Weren't they upstairs and he had a tremor and that allowed her to escape?
I think so, but how would she know specifically that he has pills and water and takes it for that? But I mean, but that's okay. I'm pretty forgiving of it as far as that goes. Let's see if we can get away with a clip here. So, and feel free to talk over this because it helps us to survive.
Buffy walks into a dark room.
Just like
she doesn't know what the fuck is happening. Could her daddy take her over before she beats the enemy?
Not a single light in this entire house.
I mean, I'm surprised they have as much light as they actually have as far as that goes.
Yeah, how that's just his paying the bill.
Wouldn't this have been a better time for like a flamethrower? In this situation, like when it is like, listen, I don't have any powers, so let me. She should have called up. She should have called up Northern English Bastard and been like, "Hey, Northern, you need to borrow that flamethrower." He's like, "But I've just filled it with petrol because there's a bunch of new packy transients hanging out."
For Buffy, anything, man, anything.
I need you to dump out that petrol and fill it with gasoline, please. This is America.
I think they mean the same thing. I'm pretty sure.
Well, this is like a genuine horror film, and look, this is actually pretty intense.
Again, what do you guys think of my theory if they had made this the Halloween episode for season 3?
I would have loved it.
Yeah, this would have been a good Halloween episode.
Yeah, I think that would totally fit with the vibe.
They totally dropped the ball on that.
It would have been the only Halloween episode that actually felt like a horror movie, because the others always feel like a little bit more comedic at times, don't they?
Yeah.
Look at Buffy, so helpless here. Like it's
look
crazy.
At him. He's fucking scary. He's funny. He's psychotic. But he's intimidating. I mean, he's got a good balance.
And again, why does he have to drink water? Do they like? What is the necessity for him to drink water with it?
Yeah, I don't get that.
And if the water was battery acid to him, wouldn't he immediately be like, "Hey, this doesn't. Something's wrong here."
I do like. I'll guess I'll call it his dialogue as he reacts to his innards being melted with the like there here. I found that kind of funny.
He does suffer. He does suffer.
Yeah. His eyes light up and then
he makes you feel every ounce of suffering before he disintegrates.
Yeah, it was just the bottom half that
coming
was
out of his shirt was pretty cool.
I mean, again, didn't somebody else say at another time, maybe Critter, like, why not fill a super soaker up with that holy water?
And just
wouldn't that have been an effective?
That would make more. And wait, wasn't it actually done in some other horror film?
Yeah, from Dusk Till Dawn.
And Dusk Till Dawn, it's done, and it's done in the 2 different video games that they have.
Also, what Lost Boys? Did they do it in Lost Boys with water guns? With
water balloons,
everything.
Water guns and water balloons, as far as that goes. So yeah. But yeah, so Buffy,
the fucking gang start using that now. I mean, Jesus Christ, they've got 2 movies to influence them.
Yeah.
I also like that Buffy is so weak that she can't even untie the thick ropes.
Right.
And Giles has to come in, and one of the Watcher guys that had been turned, he attacks, and Giles manages to stake him. Although in my mind, too little, too late, Giles. Too little, too late.
You exhibited extraordinary courage and clear-headedness in battle. The council is very pleased.
Do I get a gold star?
Look at the look she's giving him. She's just like, motherfucker, I will end your whole bloodline right now.
Yeah.
Well, I do like her threat at the end of this conversation. Like, you better leave before I'm up to full strength.
Yeah.
You better leave before I hand you a first-class ticket to the resurrection.
Right.
What?
So Scarface. He's on Scarface.
Okay. Yeah. I've only actually seen that movie one time. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, kiss my ass.
You understand nothing. You set that monster loose, and he came after my mother.
You think the test was unfair.
I think you better leave town before I get my strength back.
Ooh.
What a dick. Look at him.
Yeah.
He is good at playing older dickhead characters. It's
Yeah.
almost like you expected him to yell at them and be like, "This is the worst sign of insubordination I've ever seen in my courtroom. I would have you burned at the stake."
I feel kind of like he smiles as well. It's almost like, you know what? I think it's cute that you're angry at me. There's
Yeah,
I
something
do
very
think
condescending
I
about
think
it.
I think he thinks that as well, because he knows what he's about to do. He knows he's about to, sack Giles, so to speak.
We're not in the business of fair, Miss Summers. We're fighting a war.
You're waging a war, she's fighting it. There is a difference.
Mr. Giles, if you don't mind.
The test is done. We're finished.
Not quite. She passed. You didn't.
I feel like I feel like they knew they were going to do this the whole time. That they knew Giles was going to in some way break with tradition, and I feel like they knew that they had this set up. Like Wesley was already being like, he got like an inner office memo, like, "Hey, pack up your stuff, get ready to go to Sunnydale because we're going to send you over there because Giles is getting too fucking lippy and mouthy and way too American, and so we're gonna send your little bitch ass over." Although no one can ever make me hate Wesley because he is the best character arc in the entire series. But we'll get to that.
Well,
The Slayer is not the only one who must perform in this situation. I've recommended to the council, and they've agreed that you be relieved of your duties as Watcher immediately. You're fired.
This is interesting because it's just like, what could they actually do beyond? I mean, I guess later we discover in season 5 that they could revoke his passport and send him back to England and do shit like that. But like, what is it that do they just think that he's going to encourage her to do more? What's your thoughts on this, guys? Mr. E, go ahead.
Honestly, I think, honestly, to tell you the truth, I hadn't really thought about it, but to put down right now, so to speak, is he's smug. He's gotten away with it. He knows he can get away with it. The fact that they haven't broke protocol. Buffy says, "I'm not part of the council. I'm not going to do this anymore." Giles like, "We're going to do this on our own." So this, I don't know. It's a good question. I have to ponder on that a minute.
Okay. Well, you do that. Go get your crayons and then you can maybe try to figure it out or something. Don't eat any of them. Northern.
To be honest, I have no idea. I think it just might be a little bit of writing oversight because.
Yeah. All right. So, Critter, what was your thoughts here?
It just, again, testing them both and he failed. It's like, again, the way they function, it just doesn't really make it. I guess it makes sense within the story, but this is just dumb. Do you have other teachers, other folks to help out? All right, you're fired. Well, okay. It just seems really a really bad approach.
It seems like I get what you're I think what you're trying to get at is like with the weight of the world, monsters, vampires, demons, demon gods, things like that. With the weight of the world, is it really fucking necessary to have all this extra layer of fucking bureaucracy involved?
Respect my authority. You didn't listen. You didn't do what we said to do. Now you're out.
Well, it's not that you didn't do what we said to do. It's the way in which you did it. Now, in order to answer your question, a bureaucracy like the United States Army and the Department of the Defense would completely fucking act like this. They've got tier 1 operators, drones, all kinds of shit, but they want to do things the way that they want to do them because men in suits sitting in offices who've never seen combat make these kind of decisions. And the work. Yeah, because they're not going to die. They're going to be fine. They'll go to a bunker. They're going to be fine regardless. Although that's not actually true, as we're going to find out in season 7, is it? That the fight actually does show up on their doorstep, which I fucking listen. I'm not going to spoil it here, but when the fate of the main Watchers Council, including this dipshit, is revealed, I was pretty fucking ecstatic. I'm not going to lie. I was surprised, but I was pretty happy. So.
On what grounds?
Your affection for your charge has rendered you incapable of clear and impartial judgment. You have a father's love for the child, and that is useless to the cause. It would be best if you had no.
Daddy, when are we filming, Daddy? Come on, Daddy. Come on, Mama. Let's do it, Daddy. Let's do it. Let's film, Daddy.
Well, anyway, so he basically just gives him the ultimatum. Don't get involved. We will deal with you harshly. And I guess harshly is that they'll send him back to a lifetime of bangers and mash and fucking warm beer in England.
The funny thing is I feel like he doesn't have all that power that he thinks. He's bluffing hard here. That's what I've always felt. He's bluffing here. It's like,
I'll buy that.
Yeah, he kind of gets called out in it in season 5 when Buffy says, "Listen, you need us more than we need you."
And he's playing on that. Giles is going to fall in line. Buffy's not going to say anything or do anything. I mean, he really doesn't have any power there. I mean, the council's in England. They're in the States. I mean, what can he do? He can bring in Wesley. We know for the first, this half of the season, he's really not that effective.
And you kind of see that the council don't really kind of throw their fucking employees under the bus, because they've got these like dodgy guys as well that go out to capture Faith and everything, and they're pretty ruthless, these bastards. They're almost as bad as the vampires they go after.
It does bring up a question that we're going to have to get back to in season 4 of Buffy and season 1 of Angel.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, if they were so ruthless and so dead set on, the control of the Slayer line by any means necessary, why wouldn't they have just killed her in her sleep?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I don't know.
Well, we'll revisit. We're not quite there yet. So I don't want to spoil too much or give too much away, in future stuff and read too far ahead of the class, so to speak. But it does beg that question, doesn't it? Why let her? Why, if they want to control the power of the Slayer so much, why let a Slayer sit in a fucking coma? Spoiler alert: Faith goes into a coma. Why let her just sit and for a whole year? They could have had an extra Slayer that they could have, groomed, so to speak. I hate to use that word, but groomed.
But could it go back to the fact that they don't know?
They don't know what?
That if Faith dies, they will actually get another Slayer.
They know they'll get another Slayer.
Well, I mean, because of Buffy dying and then Kendra coming was an anomaly, so to speak, was it not? And then Faith.
True, but no. Well, the way it works is, but when Buffy died and Kendra was called, the line, the legacy that activates Slayer passed to Kendra, and then Kendra passes it to
Faith.
Again, if you read the book,
oh, that's right.
You'll learn more about how that works. I hate to
I need to read that.
So overall thoughts on this episode. Again, like it pisses me the fuck off. It's a very important episode to the lore to understand the contentious relationship between Buffy, and it makes Buffy's her rebellion at the end of this year. It makes it make a lot more sense in my mind than her just being pouty because they didn't want to help out Angel, and because Wesley was kind of a douche waffle. But it really makes me think, like, this is just an incompetent bunch of Keystone cops that have been put in charge of the mystical weapon in the forces against darkness. So
the government then.
The government, exactly.
Right.
So just like your government, basically. Luckily, this is not a thing that happens in today's age, because they probably would have been advocating for you guys to, find out you staked a vampire and you'd wind up going to jail. So, Mr. E, overall thoughts on this episode?
Despite the initial viewing and being totally uncomfortable watching it, it did kind of press a lot of questions, kind of set a tone for later in the season. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode, even rewatching it and, looking at it from my age now, to what I saw it as a 20-year-old. I mean, it's a great episode and a very key episode.
Critter, how about you, bud?
Love the episode a lot. Is divisive the term I'm looking for? Like, I found that dynamic being presented of this betrayal just horrifying. And clearly she's using, I would say, maybe more of her brains trying to solve the issues at the end, even in her weakened state. And I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Okay. Northern.
I do like this one, even though Giles' betrayal could have been written a bit better to make him come across a little bit more, at least sympathetic. But it was good. It's good to see Buffy sort of rely on her wits as well when she's at her most vulnerable. And I love the villain. He's got the good balance of being funny and intimidating. And I do like seeing a little bit more of the council, the council of watchers, and just to show how cold they are towards the actual soldiers getting thrown into the meat grinder.
At the risk of beating a dead horse here, I just feel that the episode could have been just as effective if a third party, which they clearly have, had come in and done something nefarious to Buffy.
Yeah, like the guys hunting Faith because and they tried to get Wesley to get Faith in,
and then because the same thing could have been accomplished with Giles, championing, Buffy. Like he was like, I thought we agreed that we weren't going to do this because she's already accomplished so much, and
adding the dynamic of his complicity with them actually doing it to her instead of being the person who actually does it.
Right. So
you could also go down a rabbit hole trying to rewrite and retweak and end up with almost 5 different episodes that all do the same thing.
I could write it better, actually. I'm fairly confident. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but and I don't want to toot my own horn, and but I actually have written a book. It's called Slapdash, and you can get it on Amazon. It is $15 in the large paperback edition, and you can also get it on Kindle for $1. Or if you have Kindle Unlimited, it is absolutely free. Or you can email me on one of my socials, contact me that way, and I will send you a signed copy. It's a Kansas City crime novel, and a lot of my experiences, both in the military and in the criminal world, and even some of my childhood, has been put into this fictional novel about one James Macaulay, hint, stand-in for Lord Toxic. So let me know, and please check it out if you are so inclined. But anyway, but yeah, no, I get it. You can't just decide to rewrite the stuff. I just don't like seeing Giles be mean to Buffy. I don't like it. He has 2 big betrayals of Buffy in the series, and I don't like either one of them. The other one's going to come far, far later in this. I just prefer Giles just being a good dad. I prefer Giles, standing up for his Slayer and doing the right thing. So anyway, because this one was so involved, we did talk a little over long on that, and that's okay. So some of these are going to be like that. And because it just doesn't mesh with the tone of this episode, I decided to put off Zeppo, a Xander-led episode, for next week. And here is the promo for it.
Everything seems lost.
The boy that had no cool.
A new image.
Girls need a lift?
What is this?
I'm a car guy.
Brings new opportunities.
Xander, one of these days you're gonna get yourself hurt.
Dangerous opportunities.
Are you scared? Would that make you happy?
An all-new Buffy.
Yeah, so join us next week for Zeppo, and hopefully I won't have all this festival stuff going on here at the Leavenworth Loco Hotel, so I'll have a little bit more time. Although I think next weekend, unfortunately, we have the Swingers Convention that they seem to have once every month. So I wish I was kidding and that wasn't a thing, but it actually is a thing that's going to be happening here, and I have to deal with that shit. So
really quick, sorry, before we all jump off, I have a sad update about Jessica Johnson from the prom, the winner of the 800 number contest.
Oh no, don't.
Okay, I'm not giving up yet, but I had a headache. I spent close to an hour, and it was just the internet was sending me in circles. Someone had a book. All I know is that she's from, for God's sake, Mississippi, and her name is Jessica Johnson, and she won, and she has a walk on part on the prom. I found message boards and a guy who wrote a fan book about the making of the show, and there's I can't find an image of this girl, so she's somewhere in that episode. I don't know what she is in that episode, and I'm hoping to figure it out before we get to next week, so I can tell you especially before we get to prom, to show you who she is and what she's doing. As of right now, I was going in. I had literally
maybe we should have
going in circles, just going in circles.
Maybe we should have an Avengers Assemble thing, and we all go see if we can do some research and find out more about this Jessica Johnson before the prom episode. Maybe we could all do that and see what we can find out. After all, I am a detective. But yeah, no, great work. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Listen, you've done great stuff, Mike, continuity expert. And I honestly thought you were about to tell us that like she offed herself or something like that.
Oh, thank God for that. Jesus.
Because when you say I heard bad news about somebody, I'm like, oh man.
I should have said I have no good update. That's what I should have said. There's no good update because I was just going in circles from one tab to another. It just kept repeating itself.
Yeah, clearly you're a monster.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, join us next week and we will talk about the Zeppo and we'll see. Although that's a very involved episode, I will try to squeeze in another one so we can hurry up.
That's a good episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, hopefully we can do that, and then I can get into season 4 of Buffy, where we'll be able to go tandem with season 1 of Angel. I'm super excited about doing that because that's just a cool way to watch it. But anyway, thanks for joining us. Until next time.
Previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
You are the Slayer. Into each generation, a Slayer is born.
Why don't we start with, hi, I'm Buffy.
Xander.
Cordelia. Willow, right?
Mr. Giles.
Angel.